We now move into a panel discussion right now, and we're going to be speaking about the micro-mobility as a solution to the last mile connectivity. Up first, I'd like to welcome our moderator, Manish Raj of Lithium Urban Tech, up onto the stage. Please put your hands together for Manish. He's a strategic business leader and a net zero champion with over 2 decades of expertise in sustainable transport solutions, SaaS, and travel technology. He has varied experience in customer acquisition and engagement in Indian and international markets. Our first panelist for this discussion is Uday Narang. He is from Seiki. He conceptualized and introduced electrical vehicle company Seiki Mobility in 2018 and has been actively involved in the electric vehicle business since. Seiki Mobility aims to create sustainable mobility solutions. Next up, I'd like to welcome Vivek Kumar Jakhmola from eMobility. He's one of the key architects of India's modern auto component manufacturing ecosystem and is hailed as a profound technocrat. He is the man behind some of India's most valuable and successful joint ventures. As a committed innovator, he's been mentoring and guiding many new age entrepreneurs and companies. Our next panelist is Karunakaran Vadakkepat from Bazaar. Karuna, as he's known, is an expert in startups and turnaround, having been involved in leadership roles in setting up Transamerica and in the turnaround of Bajaj Finance Limited, using the same expertise and a vision to make organized finance accessible for unbanked or underbanked customers. And our final panelist for this discussion, Christie Fernandez from Sooorya EV. He has extensively researched NEVs, new energy vehicles, across 5 continents and gained good insights on EV technologies and markets over the last 6 years. His startup venture, Sooorya EV, is focused on shared last-mile mobility and will be launching a purpose-built 8-seater electric taxi in India and the Asian region. Once again, big round of applause for our panelists and moderator for this next panel discussion. I'm going to hand it over to you, Manish.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and it's been a quite electrifying day, I must say, and Mr. Abhijit, you gave a fabulous presentation and actually opened up eyes for many people as well about the initiative that is being taken by the government and by companies, people like you who have been really adding to the ecosystem. Today I have very distinguished guests as my co-panelists, and I'm very excited to take this forward. One of the reasons being is this domain has taken or really grown so much, and there's so much of interest towards knowing what's happening in the electric mobility space, and there's so many businesses which is coming out of this this domain, and addressing so many requirements across, whether it's from human logistic to just the deliveries and things like that. And I am very interesting part is that this panel is, the set of people I have on this panel is, they come from various domains, like the kind of experience that you come from, different countries you all are here from, seen across the globe how the mobility has been shaping up. The electrification of the entire mobility space has been on an uprise, and we have Karna from who's helping people to really invest into it or funding them. We have Uday, who has been making some really major inroads across all domains of all kind of vehicle that you are really across, not just in India but across the globally. Vivek, we are going to have some very interesting questions for you. You have been also making a lot. Christie, happy to see you here because of the kind of vehicle you have been launching, and I follow most of them on the LinkedIn very aggressively. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Manish Raj. I am part of Lithium Urban Technology. I'm sure you would have heard about us. You would have seen our cars running on the streets of Bangalore and across the country. We are into the electric mobility space, as I call it as mobility as a service, mass solution that we do. And we are helping companies to reduce their carbon emission and meeting their ESG goals. That's kind of the focus has changed quite a lot after pandemic. companies have been looking at. They have made their goals for net zero or carbon neutrality, and they have been looking for solutions that can really help them to meet their scope 3 emissions and reduce their carbon footprints, and also become a part of their balance sheets to part of their financial reporting. We have a very interesting topic today that we are talking about, and that's micromobility as a solution to last mile connectivity. There are two aspects to this topic. There is a people aspect to it, and there is a delivery aspect to it. And why we are talking about delivery? Delivery also has changed many-fold after pandemic and during pandemic, right? How many of you agree with that? How many of you are not really going to the market anymore to buy stuff and ordering it on your app? Many of you, right? Okay, let's make it a little interactive, because one-way communication doesn't look good. So we are going to I want to make it more interactive with all of you participating in this discussion. If you have questions, please raise your hand. So, for the urban last mile delivery, micromobility offers advantages over cars, over vans or trucks, and what has it impacted? It reduces, it lowers the cost, it has fewer dangers, it is less polluting, and it helps to reduce the congestion. Now, with that said, without intervention, if we just continue allowing just the delivery part to really move, it is an unexpected 78% growth that you see in urban deliveries by 2030, and which will result in 36% more delivery vehicles in the world's top 100 cities, nearly 1/3 more emissions, 21% more congestion, and longer commute time. And how many of you are from Bangalore here? Do you enjoy your commute every day? So you know that, right? So where I'm coming from. So with that, let me move to the first question, and Uday, I would come to you with that first question. And this question is going to be for everybody, but let's understand more about micromobility and how is it really impacting the general business, people behavior, and how is it really impacting the environment as well. So let's understand that part.
First of all, great to be here, and what's really good to see is, when we started this journey a long time ago, and I think some of us, I'm the older guy, younger guys like Christie and all these young people here, it wasn't used to be like this. We would say, I'll tell you, when I first got into this business, my mom said, "Are you mad? India and sustainability and green energy, Abhijitji's been around for a long time." So a lot has changed. I think COVID changed everything. If you talk about micromobility, let's go back, right? I think the acceleration of this entire country, but not just the country, the entire world, the demand structure has changed because of COVID. We got used to ordering everything online or delivery. I think micromobility possibilities in this country, and I think we've got to go back and look at it. I was a hedge fund manager for a long time, but I think today there's an opportunity in this country to bring a change to the scale of probably never in our history. I'm investing in India because I think there's an opportunity to really get, so projects like Abhijitji and all these other people that are working. At the end of the day, I'll be honest, in India, nobody really cares about the environment. They say they do, but Meri jeb mein, sorry, I'm in Karnataka, so but I got to speak a little Hindi because, apni jeb mein bachega, tabhi hoga. Otherwise, nobody cares, okay? We sit in conferences, we talk about this. Abhijitji say, I'm going to save money. Tab buses chalengi. Agar महंगा होगा तो नहीं चलेगा. So micromobility, to come back to you, has an opportunity where every part, micromobility can be less than a certain, but I think two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers are not micromobility, but four-wheelers. This country has an opportunity to leave US and China, but the third largest market. And I think every sector of this country, we're working on commercial because it brings the most amount of pollution. But I think the good thing about this country is there is so many young men, and especially women. Yeah, Nari Shakti. I want to see more women here. I only see a few, right? I want to see Nari Shakti here. And Abhijay ji, you got to all be part of that, okay? I want to see more, right? Because it's not just talk. 48% of this population is women. And we got to, if we don't bring them in, and I'll tell you, in my companies, they're smarter. I got a young lady sitting here from my company. She works harder than all the rest of them. So the boys are always, their mind is somewhere else. They work harder, so it makes economic sense. But my point is that we can bring all types of mobility, and we have technology, we have people. I don't want Sundar Pichai's or Satya Nadella's going to the United States or Canada. Build it here. Huh? I mean, Christie ji, build it here, right? Let's make them here. Take it from here and use it outside. So I think we've got to be able to use this time, I think, in every part of life. If we've got, and the TCO model on 2- and 3-wheelers works now. You are seeing it even in 4-wheelers with what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
So why should not every vehicle in this country, it doesn't have to be EV, it can be hydrogen, it can be others, you know, Honorable Minister Gadkari ji talks about ethanol, but I'll tell you what we need, and I think it'll hit close to what you want, charging infrastructure. Charging hoga, to range anxiety jayegi. Tabhi baat banegi, right? And I think we'll get it. Anyway, thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you. I think you covered a lot of points, especially you covered a cost, you covered a millennials, and you covered, I mean, the women aspect, of course, and also you covered the manufacturing part which the country is playing. I'll come to you, Vivek, with this, just taking the same question ahead to you, and with the dash of the fact that today, millennials are no more the ones who are really investing in owning assets. And therefore, they are really looking, I call it a subscription model millennial, right? This is the generation. They're really not spending money on buying assets, but they're looking at facilities like this which can really help. How much do you think today micro-mobility is really adding to their advantage, and without cost, really, is cost really playing a major role out here?
Well, I see it from the point of view of let's say, kind of a democratization of the mobility.
Absolutely.
The micro-mobility enables not only the few manufacturers and lot of consumers, but it also enables the democratization. There could be smaller manufacturers, there could be a very specific niche area use cases, and vehicles can be customized as per that. And this also enables the this as you said, the millennial mentality of
Yes.
not owning the vehicles. This is something which gets a lot of boost because of this multiple kind of vehicles available and all. So for me, or for let's say, I'm a bit older, so I cannot qualify to be a millennial. But then for a millennial, let's say if he wants to go for a longer distance, there is a different kind of a vehicle. If you want to go for a shorter distance, if you want to go for a rally, he want to go for a, let's say, for an excursion. There are n number of mobility ways he can adopt.
Sure.
For our generation, it is one vehicle. I have one vehicle which I use for everything. But then at this point of time, as the micro mobility, as the electric vehicles, as the variety of the vehicles are increasing and they are being used for different kind of use cases, I think this is also supporting the non-ownership of the vehicle and more on the leasing side, that if I want to, for the particular journey, I can choose a vehicle, take it on the lease and use it and just leave it. As we were seeing the presentation, you don't have to own the vehicle, and this is what a lot of initiatives from the government side and and by default from the vehicle manufacturer side are also being done by creating multiple kinds of vehicle. So in diesel and petrol era, we have not seen that vehicle specific for certain uses were being created, because obviously it was a very cumbersome exercise. Not everybody could have done or could have the access to the technology. But because of the ease, the variety of the use cases are more, and thus ideally owning the vehicle. And this is a different point of view.
Yeah.
But not owning the vehicle has many reasons, but this is one of the reasons where you can have a different vehicle for different journey, what you plan. So this
Thank
is
you.
one of the point of view which I wanted to add.
Right. Vivek, I'll come to you, Karna, for the next question, because what you heard now is, you heard perspective from both Uday and from Vivek right now. And what Vivek came up with is point of convenience and choice, and the millennial having more access to technology and awareness. I kind of would say that there is a pivot happening or a shift happening in the perception of people, especially the younger generations are more kind of seems more responsible toward the environment. And with that said, money is a driving factor, but sometimes they are willing to take that leap of faith to see that it saves them, because the environment is already showing its different dimensions, which is not what you see. The way the weathers have changed, the weather is changing, the climatic conditions are changing. How you coming from the finance background and you're funding people in terms of financing them to buy two-wheeler, how do you see this impact now, this whole convenience and choice playing on the buying behavior and impact on micromobility?
Thanks. Thanks. So let me put a caveat first. No, my opinions will be biased towards from a financial side. I am not an expert in on the manufacturing side or technology side, but I'm sure all of us agree here. I heard Mr. Abhijit also speaking of the difficulty of getting finance, and he made a statement which I heard, no, that retail finance maybe after a lot of pain you will get, and that's the fact in life. So coming to it, and what Mr. Vivek said also, so we were just chatting about it, what we call the ownership versus ridership. Especially we are seeing that in the electric vehicles segment. No, I'm not sure, I don't have empirical data to say whether it is because of millennium shift, but we see, for example, we run two products for the B2C segment. We do a direct retail, vanilla retail loans to the customer, where it's a plain financing equity, and we do also a rental model. So, and this rental model mostly are used by e-commerce delivery boys. Right. And what, at least to our mind, I think all of us sitting in this room understand what are the major challenges for EV acceleration, the battery, the challenge of battery, range anxiety, charging stations. So what we at least understand is that people want to use the EV, but they don't want to, and there is from a financial side, there is a resale market also. For example, today, if a customer doesn't pay me a loan for an ICE engine, I know that I can salvage at least 60% of the value, 70% of the value, because there is an organized resale market. But things are changing. In EV also it's developing, but it takes time. So the customer, when he buys, he thinks, no, that should I invest on it's a wait and watch to my mind. So definitely there is a wait and watch. People want to add, but there are people, you told about people who are aware of the EV generation and all. And I totally agree with what Mr. Narang said. I think that as long as they don't see money in their pocket, they are not too concerned about EV. But we find a lot of people who come, especially software industry, people who come in software, they come for 2 years, 3 years job, for example, in Bangalore. A lot of them are hiring EVs or buying EVs. So to answer your question, yes, there is a ownership versus ridership, but I'm not very sure it's a millennial thing or it is because of the concerns about owning a EV at this stage.
Sure.
Karuna-san, I'll tell you one thing. And you know, you've been around long enough. They say Rome wasn't built in one day. In India, we want Rome built in 2 days. The point is that where we have come on this journey and the speed at what we have come, I think you have a very valid point on the concern of resale. And I think I'll personally say we are working. We came up with a vehicle, a 6-year warranty on the vehicle, 6-year warranty on the battery with Log9 on, it's a Bangalore-based company. I think we're coming up, but developing a second-hand market for EVs has to be, just like charging was in the agenda, I think the day we sort of, and I think that has to happen on a combination of OEMs, financiers, and a few others. And I think we are working on that. I think very shortly, because when we started this journey, financing, I had to set up my own NBFC. to finance the vehicle. But now financing is not as much an issue. If you have the right product,
Absolutely.
I think you're finding financing available. So just to add to that, I think the day is not too far. I definitely want to work on a secondary market, not just for OSM, but the entire ecosystem on 3 and 2. If we can get that, I think financiers like you will be a lot more comfortable.
Totally agree.
Let me come to you, Christie. You heard the finance part as well. You heard what Vivek had to say from the convenience and choice, and Uday made a good start to this discussion. Now, what it boils down to is that there is a requirement in the market. There is an awareness about the product. And with all of these metros coming in, metro rail facility and various other mode of transport really working out, the last mile mobility is kind of a concern. The younger generation is willing to take those, go through the choices, buy those choices, or, avail those choices on a subscription and all. I see the bigger challenge again is, one is on the demand. The second is on the infrastructure. How do we support that? What's your opinion on that? And want to hear your thoughts on this. To support the micro-mobility requirement, and how does it expand now across city after city in India?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we need to do for micro-mobility is to create road space.
Right.
India sells about 20 million two-wheelers every year, but amount of road space that we allocate for two-wheelers is nil. If you go to Vietnam, you'll find that they have allocated road space for two-wheelers. There are lots of two-wheelers in Vietnam. And then you see that the congestion on the road is also a lot less. So in some roads of Vietnam, you'll find 2 lanes dedicated for two-wheelers. But in India, we sell, majority of the vehicles that we sell are two-wheelers. And the four-wheeler ownership is less than 3% of the population. But the majority of the road space is allocated for four-wheelers. So I think the first thing we need to do for micro-mobility is to create dedicated road space for micro-mobility. I've also seen some countries where they have painted that road space green. Mm-hmm. So people think twice before going on that particular lane. I think once there is road space, I think more people will be able to adopt micro-mobility. Today, I think it is very dangerous even if you sit in a car in this kind of traffic. And, I kind of, I'm very concerned about a guy sitting on a small, two-wheeler and trying to zigzag his way around in the traffic. The second, infrastructure that we need is a proper parking space. Again, I've seen some micro-mobility companies here in Bangalore where their bikes are parked, but there is, it's on the pavement. There is, there's no proper platform. There's no charging infrastructure. In Singapore, for example, for micro-mobility, they also, if you park it, it gets charged. So it makes it easy. It keeps the vehicles,
So to that, do you think because it's not owned, the responsibility of, maintaining that vehicle or for the time duration that I've hired that vehicle for is not my responsibility, and that's why people just leave it wherever they want to?
I think the micro-mobility operators have to have a much more better business model. I remember when I was growing up, we used to hire cycles. And we took good care of it and then, delivered it back to the guy who we hired it from. Because there was we had to pay if we damaged the vehicle. But today, with micro-mobility, where they allow you to take it and then, leave it somewhere and no one is responsible, no one is looking at it. I think that model lends itself for damage, for vehicles getting damaged very easily. The third part, I think, is not everyone would like to ride their own vehicle. There are many people who don't have licenses, so they would like to actually travel last mile to and fro metro stations. Metros today are all air-conditioned, so I foresee a lot of people who work in offices wanting to use the metro a lot more. But the last mile from their home to the metro is a big hassle. And if we can provide affordable, air-conditioned, last-mile shared mobility, I think there would be, a bigger response of people moving towards towards last-mile mobility and metros than trying to own their own vehicles.
Right. Thanks, Christie. So, Vivek, yeah, please.
So, since you asked about the what you call misuse of the vehicle, so this is one challenge we are facing because we run the rental business.
Right.
So, two challenges we face is that, first of all, most of these people are migrants. If you see mainly I'm talking about delivery boys now, who either are from rural parts of Karnataka or from other states, so they have rented premises. It will be their first job for them, so it's very difficult to ascertain their cash flows and things like that. And we give on rental starting from 1 week to 1 year. So 2-3 challenges we face is that, one, they use the vehicle very, very roughly. Because, like you said, it's not owned by them. They use the vehicle very roughly. And second thing, they violate traffic rules. And the challan comes to the operator because after 1 week or 2 weeks, they come and give the vehicle to you. Then after 3 weeks, you get a RTO challan saying that this vehicle has not paid this thing. And sometimes if they don't renew the subscription, then they leave the vehicle on the road. And many a times there is pilferage also. So now it's difficult to take out batteries, but some smart people take the batteries also.
But I find it more dangerous for other people also because they just leave it, throw the bike around here and there, and it's difficult for four-wheeler drivers or anybody else to.
No, it's very dangerous. I don't know. There is one popular operator here. I don't want to take names, but I see them taking a truck in the evening and picking up vehicles and bringing it to you.
Right.
So I think these are challenges. No, I mean these are, for example, a financial challenge. Everybody wants finance. Everybody says, no, why don't you finance my vehicle? Why don't you do retail finance? Like we were chatting, no. To my knowledge, at least there are 200 two-wheeler EV manufacturing companies in India. Now, how many of them are going to survive, I don't know. And all of them wants retail finance. So, I mean, this is
right.
So
we're running short of time, so let me just quickly come to you. Now, what you heard from all of this point that we made, and we realized that the consumers are also are quite fragmented in their behavior. Now, the question to you is, consumers are looking for specific solution, right, to their need and not for using whatever is available, because I might come with a two-wheeler which I don't like it. I mean, the consumer is not going to like it. So, what is the product differentiation you make to ensure that the right fit for use case for last mile mobility is taken care?
I think this is a very, very interesting subject, and this kind of a question are emerging now because of the flexibility in the kind of designs which the companies are doing for the two-wheelers and of course three-wheelers. So earlier it used to be just simple boxy design and kind of like a typical traditional vehicles, but now when we see we see a lot of imagination going into the designs, and the companies are trying now to understand in a smaller area, let's say in a smaller area there is a particular use case is available, and the vehicle is altered, vehicle is designed as per that use case. So this is something which is very interesting. I do see that this, of course, if there is a Me Too kind of a philosophy for any kind of a startups, and I really appreciate that thing. There are 200 manufacturers. So if out of 200, if 180 is trying to, let's say, make a vehicle which looks like a Honda vehicle, which looks like a Suzuki vehicle, I don't think that when it will come to the consumer choice, and if I have to buy a vehicle and there is a price parity, even if it is a slightly differentiation, I would like to go for a very reputed brand rather than going in for a startup per se. क्योंकि reliability है और product का serviceability है, and longevity of the company itself is in doubts. So, but if I want a particular kind of a vehicle which is like not available from the let's say from the legacy players or from the large players, then I might give it a try. So that's my take on the two-wheeler mobility. I think as it is evolving, there are a lot of point of views on how it should be and what should be made, what can be sold.
Right.
But definitely there are so many possibilities available for. I was in a Sirsa. There is a city in northern India. So they grow sugar canes. So I was mesmerized to see that to cut the sugar cane and collect and move it outside the field they were using they call it a jugaad there. So it's a small vehicle which they fit, and they were just cutting and putting in this, and it will switch it on, and you can call it an autonomous vehicle. It has got nothing but a motor and 4 wheels, and it goes in a straight line, and at the end of it there is a guy who is just collecting, keeping and reversing the motor. It goes back. So these kind of innovative things which people are doing. Of course, I'm not suggesting to any of the vehicle maker to make that, but then definitely we can find in the niche areas what we can do, and we can create the value.
So we heard jugaad and we heard design, and two people I definitely recognize from a design aspect is one, Uday, you for the kind of product that you have been making, and Christie, you have been also, and we are going to talk a little about it. But let me quickly come to the part that the three-wheeler from the last mile delivery point of view also, and the role now it is creating in two-tier city, tier 2 city, tier 3 cities, and the acceptance that you're getting in those markets. How do you see that happening? How is it growing for you from your own experience? And how is the design of your vehicle is really, making impact on people's mind?
I love to hear, and Vivek ji, I'll try to disagree with you a little bit. Not because, I've been also, Omega has been around in the automobile industry for about 50 years.
Number 2 maker.
No, but I'll tell you, I'm a new startup. But I'll tell you what, I agree. Out of the 200, I said 10, you said 6. You're probably right. But I'll tell you what I know Christine sir is also very much part of it, is OSM will continue to develop new products faster, quicker. By the time you make one, I'll make 6. And I'm going to give that customer the choice. I think today, the customers, whether it is in Haryana or in Punjab or rural Tamil Nadu or rural Karnataka or Kerala, the new generation understands. We say, change with the time or time will change you. And I think the incumbents are here to stay, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to give them a run for the money. Now, I don't know whether I'm successful or not, but zindagi jarur kharab karunga or disrupt karunga, okay? I hope that OSM is part of that. I think I will. But, I'm into fitness. ये तो अभी 500 मीटर की रेस हम तो मैराथन रन करते हैं तो ये अभी जल्दी है. It's going to take time, okay? But if we build good products, and if it makes Piaggio, Mahindra, Tata, Bajaj make better products, you know who wins? It's the consumers. And if the consumer wins, that's my victory. I think, Christine sir, you'd also be part of that from what you write. Because हम थोड़े बुढ़े हो चुके हैं अब young बच्चों को थोड़ा सा बनाने दो product. But I think that helps. And I'll be honest, I want the young ladies to be part of it. I'll keep coming back. It's not he, it is she. Please make sure you all understand. Because I was in a big conference where all the big automobile players were there. And wo bar, it's the he. I said, boys, you live in a different world. It's the she that when they go home, she's the one making the decision, right? So make sure you think about your customer. This is the new generation. So I think, we continually make new products, new technology. We're going to come up with some new, we came with fixed, fast charging, swap, 15-minute fast charging. We're going to come up with multiple new products. We're going to come up with gradients. Three-wheeler. I'm going to make three-wheeler, sorry for the language, I'm going to make three-wheeler sexy, right? So everybody wants it. So anyway, I know time is short. Christine ji, I'll make sure you
just want to add to this, because customer centricity is what Uday just spoke about. And 2-tier, 3-tier cities, how do you see that bucket really? And with your kind of product, because I see that also having a great opportunity in those cities as well. How do you see that?
Yeah, so I think that we need to build purpose-built vehicles. And there is a big demand in rural markets. Electric vehicles can be powered by solar energy. And I believe that with solar energy, swappable batteries, and low-speed vehicles, not high-speed vehicles, I think the demand in the rural areas is definitely going to be much bigger than the demand in the urban areas, especially for affordable, low-cost EVs.
Great. Thank you so much. You want to add something, Karuna, because you are interested about tier 2 cities.
So this has been our experience also. So what we are seeing is, for example, since we are in this rental business, there are 29 operators in this country who gives vehicles on third party to the Amazons or there are 29 operates who has got a minimum of 100 vehicles up to a maximum of 20,000. And yesterday I was just, before coming to me, I was just seeing all of them barring are present in the urban cities only. When I say urban, I'm saying typical urban, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi. Only 3 cities they are present other than, which is an Assam, which is a Pune, and the third one was Bhubaneswar. And it's not that people don't use Amazon or Swiggy or Zomato or in tier 2, tier 3 cities. And so I totally agree. I think the potential there is immense, but the challenges are the same. That the OEs have to put distribution channels there, service setups there, and things like that.
Sure.
But I agree the potential is immense.
I'll just quickly open the floor for an open mic. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer that. Any questions anybody has? Yes, please.
Thanks for this wonderful session. I think, as usual, always insightful. I think thanks, Christie, for that. The 3 points which you mentioned was quite, I think we have to look into that. I think the entire discussion I could put it together as sustainability, which I mean all of you touched upon, and also on the circular economy, which I think pretty much it's important, the resale value part of it. I think the key here, what I could see is product developers, OEMs are already into it. They are already put their foot down and things are happening. I think I could see like Uday reflecting, Vijay reflecting the same thing. Yesterday I was with their team, and the team is also reflecting the same thing. So that's what the difference it is with the startups or the companies which are trying to create the agility what he was talking about. I think that is putting the entire ecosystem into the fast-paced mode. I think the momentum is primarily because of that. So I just want to have one question to Karunakaran, specifically in terms of, I think rest of the players I could see they are already there. So I think the question is primarily in terms of how do you see, say for example, out of the 4 in the panel, how many of you are in owning an EV? 2, 3, 4, excellent. So I just want to understand, so why didn't you get into the choice of EV? Is it easy for somebody like all of us here to get into owning an EV? No, I think I just want to understand from you.
For me?
Yep.
So there was no particular reason. So I don't own a two-wheeler. I have a knee problem, so I can't ride a two-wheeler. And the last car which I bought was 4 years back. So at that time, I don't think EV was a choice. I mean, EV probably would have been a choice, but I don't think that you had the kind of choice you have in terms of number of car manufacturers who are making electric cars and the infrastructure. But for sure, next vehicle, whichever one I own, I will buy a EV, that's for sure.
Yeah. So the question was on utilization. I think that everywhere we could see, like right from Abhijit who talked about utilization. As an ICE engine.
If I can add
please,
to that question,
please.
is that, why you should go for an EV? It's
not why, but definitely like say people are ready to get into it. I mean, as people
what
who
is
are
stopping them from?
As people in the ecosystem, so how do we facilitate more people to get into it? So the penetration portion is what I'm looking at, and traditionally the utilization is, as each one of us we know, we want to have better utilization. And ICE engines, we all typically
there
know.
are a couple of things which really play.
Can I just?
Please go ahead.
So, for example, since many OEs are here, see today we are running a small. We do only 250 vehicles in Bangalore. We are not one of the big operators, 1,000. Even here, when we find difficult to get spare parts for the vehicle. So these are the challenges which OEs also take care. And if the vehicles goes off-road, then, I mean, we are giving the vehicle on hire if it goes off-road. So these challenges remain. And at least all of us have some idea of EV, what it is, how the infrastructure is building. Just think of a layman. I mean, who let us say, I don't know, not in a degrading way, a common man or middle class man, why would he take a risk of buying an electric vehicle in today's, when every day you see and only bad news gets splashed that EV burned there. So he will say, मैं क्यों ये नुकसान लेना है कि Honda Activa ले लेंगे 3 साल के बाद I buy it for 1 lakh 3 साल के बाद मेरे को 80,000 मिल जाएगा. ये लेने के बाद मेरे को किधर रुक जाएगा, किधर चार्जिंग मिलेगा, किधर. So I think those fears are real. I mean,
I think the answer was given by Uday in the first opening statement on the price when he spoke about cost. But I think more than the cost, it's about how do you really look at your usage and how do you align to that requirement. We run so many EVs. We know that if you're looking at from a commercial usage point of view, you really need to be very, very agile in terms of your infrastructure. How do you cross-utilize it? How do you utilize it? And how do you really ensure that the vehicle is sweated as much as possible to give a value for money to the consumer. But as a user, if I am buying a EV for myself, I have lesser hassles if I have got charging points, and I know today's vehicles ranges are very good. If you look at the BYD outside, it's almost about 500 kilometers. So you can really manage it well if you're looking at. Price certainly is still a major factor for a lot of people. Uday, you want to say something? Because
Karuna sir, I'll tell you one thing. And I know this absolutely, at least for me, it will change. And I'll tell you this old man or young man, I'll sell them all to the young ladies first, then I'll come to the men. But I'll tell you, that future is not too far. And you will see it. And I think, you know, I'll tell you the last thing here. And you asked why. It is the right thing to do. EV or green energy is the right thing to do. If we all say, you know, that man and woman in the front line, उसकी भी कोई सैलरी ज़्यादा नहीं है, वो हमारे लिए बुलेट लेने को तैयार है ना, तो हम लोगों को भी एक लॉन्ग टर्म विजन इस देश को, and I got no interest Abhijit being in politics, yeah, I have no interest, but अगर इस देश को आगे निकालना है, तो all of us have to pitch in.
Uday, who says there is no politics into electric mobility? I'll give you my personal opinion. I hope there is no journalist in the room. It's an EV conference. Only one bill this government has taken over last 10 years is the Kisan bill. No other bill we have taken back. All of them, there are still maybe GST, demonetization. You like it, you do not like it. It happened, it came, it remained. This Kisan bill was taken back with the excuse which we probably accepted, that not proper consultation happened between farmers and the people. Why do we need to do consultation when we know that removing middleman is important and it is bound to be beneficial for the farmer? We did not did it. Sometimes we need to do consultation, sometimes we need to show that we are doing consultation. I am telling you this particular session is very capable to translate what I am going to say in my personal opinion. It's not an official statement. This bill is going to come back next term, and this will come with evidence-based policy making of micro-mobility delivery, where all farmers of our country will be able to post their material, their produce on e-commerce directly without any middleman, and the transition which is going to happen from the farmland to the electric vehicle charging station and from there to bigger cities is going to be electric and green. And this is going to come back and nobody will be able to replace, because farmer itself can stand for themselves and they will say, I am getting what I am paying. Whoever is paying for me, I am getting it. There is no middleman, there is no cold storage, there is no mandi. So definitely this micro-mobility is having a put and support from the politics also. Thank you.
Are you taking a group photo?
Hi, Uday. Can I?
You want to make?
Just a quick one, sorry.
Which?
Uday, yeah, this one is for you. I really like the spiel that you're giving and the sentiments that you have, that you want to make three-wheelers as sexy, for just a quick one. I mean, the kind of TG that the three-wheeler have, whether it's for commercial or for, do they really sort of care for a sexy product, or would they want, more to do with range anxiety or, to address those sort of things? Or is it, yeah.
You're a very valid question. I got a dealer right here. You know what he says? One of my dealers here, he hammered me earlier on. He said, गाड़ी को थोड़ा सा और अच्छा बनाओ. इसकी paint quality Mercedes की बनाओ. ठीक है? So I agree with you. The day it gets out, they smash it. We're going to get very heavily into passenger. But my dealer, सबसे बड़ी comment थी, सर गाड़ी अच्छी है, लेकिन इसको थोड़ा सा और अच्छा बनाओ. He's here. I'm not going to name him. He's sitting right here. He hammered me for 5 minutes. गाड़ी को और भी अच्छा पेंट करो, गाड़ी को और भी अच्छा दिखाओ, उसकी क्वालिटी भी बढ़ाओ, लेकिन एक चीज करना, प्राइस थोड़ा और कम कर दो, right? So मेरा प्रॉफिट होना चाहिए, मेरे को इकोनॉमिक्स चाहिए. तो I'm telling you, I agree. That's why on gradients, that's why on range, that's why on load capacity. When we started this journey, it used to be, Christie sir, used to be 120 CFT, 140 CFT, 170. They want a damn, now I'm coming up with a product with 1.5 ton on a 3-wheeler. It'll be a Tata Ace. So, but they all want aspirational. Everybody in this country, I tell you, go talk to your son and daughter, they're aspirational. You're not my customer. My customer are the future men and women of this country. So I think, if I want to get scale, and Vivek ji, if I want to change people like you to say, forget Honda or forget Piaggio Mahindra, then we've got to give products which are better. And on top of this, in EV, and this is again, my dealer's right here in the conference, and he said, sir, service aise do ki gaadi kabhi ruke hi nahi, right? So, look, you have to understand, service is extremely important, and I think the day, I hope, Karunaji is young, I'm getting older, but I hope I can meet Karunaji and say, Karunaji, that old man who wanted to buy the Honda Activa, now wants to buy Sooorya EV's vehicle. I hope that day is around. I'm old, but you'll be around for that.
Okay.
Uday,
Gentlemen, we'll have to...
Just take 30 seconds.
We'll have to come to an end.
Yeah, sure. So, what I understood is that
topic.
it's not. I don't think that the word "sexy" which Udayji has used, it is to do with the let's say with the glorification of the vehicle so much. It depends on segment to segment.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you are right that a 3-wheeler is a 3-wheeler, and it is more of a utility vehicle.
That's right.
What probably I understood from it, that it should look sexy in terms of well built.
Right.
It should be having a differentiating factor like a bigger carrying capacity or a higher gradient activity. So definition of the word sexy differs. And here the product differentiation, what I'm talking about, and while I was not intending to talk on the subject which Udayji has taken up, but it is the flexibility with the e-mobility is that you can create the product differentiation.
Absolutely.
And that product differentiation, if you have a right product differentiation, you can always beat the legacy guys.
That's right.
This is the flexibility, and that's the bliss. In a diesel engine era, this flexibility was not there.
That's right.
So that is what the point of view is.
Perfect.
And I think we are on the same page from a different way.
That's right. So I
Okay,
think just 15 seconds. So Uday, I've just given a presentation before you here, and my opening sentence was that there are people in the industry who are going to disrupt it, including us. We provide DMS CRM to the industry. One line for you. वो कोई और चिराग होंगे जो हवाओं से बुझ जाते हैं. हमने तो जलने का हुनर भी तूफानों से सीखा है. And that's your attitude. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderful audience, and gentlemen here, thank you so much for such a passionate discussion that we had. I am sure this topic is so interesting that we can go on and on. But let me tell you that the success will depend on the city's density, urban form, acceptance, scale, and the service that we were talking about, design. Let's look forward that we have a more larger adoption of electric mobility, and also for the last mile connectivity becomes much easier and smoother. With that, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to the audience for your time as well. Thank you so much. Okay.